You can declare a variable like we've done before, straight across like this with the type, and then with the value inside of it. But you can also do it a different way. For instance, I could say variable box, and I could use my semicolon to end it. And then on a separate line, I could actually say box equals, we'll say, big box. And then semicolon to end this. Okay, so this is identical to basically this one, in that I've made my variable. I don't have any declaration to it except I've declared it, the box is a variable, but I haven't actually done a type for it. Um, so this one is actually open to anything I want to do down here. Now notice, you see where I have variable here first, but down here I don't have a variable? This is because this is now assigned to it. It doesn't need the variable description to be said anymore. So anytime I want to use the box, I can actually just place it down there. Then I can also do, so for instance, let's say, let me just do this one here. We'll say print box. Okay, let's save this. And then when we run it, now notice, if you've noticed where the screen goes away, like I don't have my scripting editor, you can actually go up to your options, I believe, and click on always on top. And that way this won't go away, so when you click on it, it'll stay up here. Now I can click on play, and if I click on play, notice at the bottom it says big box. Alright, now while it's running, just so we can see how it actually works, check this out. So go ahead and do the same thing while you've got it on play. Instead of big box, do small box and then save. And once you save it, it's going to take it just a second, and once it updates it, you'll actually have small box. Okay, so this one updates it while it's playing, like we were talking about before. It does allow it to be changed through that. All right, so we have box being declared here, being assigned down here, and let's actually comment on that. So we'll say uh, box declared. Oops. And being an artist, remember, you want to make sure your spelling is correct, both in comments and inside of the actual code. And then here we'll just say box assigned, and we'll put as a string, just as a reminder for us. Okay, now if we have box assigned here, and then we print the box out, this is another thing we'll go ahead and just comment here. One of the things to get used to, it's really easy not to comment. It's just like in art, if you start getting sloppy and you don't do your file labeling properly, or you don't have names, or you don't have textures labeled, that's the same thing that comments is. You want to make sure your process is complete all the way through, so be sure that you don't go through and just make it hack together, but really try to take your time to make it look good. On this one, the prints will just say print variable box. Now, if I print this box, now what if I go down here and do this? We'll go ahead and turn off the play here. If I print the box, and then I decide, you know what, my box is going to equal 23. Okay? Alright, and this time I'm going to print the box again. Alright, now before I play it though, try to figure out what's going to happen. You know, if I'm trying to think through this and I go, well, is it going to print small box or is it going to print 23? Alright, so take a guess, and then we'll go ahead and push play. And when it comes through, what you should notice is 23 comes up. So it comes down, it prints the first one, which is currently assigned as a string, and then when it comes down here, it's reassigned as an integer. Alright, so there's a really great tool inside of Unity. It allows you just to write anything to anything. So any type could be written to it, which is very useful for a couple of reasons. Let me show you a quick thing here. Now, we're going to get into addition and adding and subtracting in a little bit, but just so you can see how this could be useful. Let's say we'll call this box number is equal to 23. Alright, now we'll go down below here. Let's go ahead and say this will be box number. That way we can see it printed. Now what I want to do is just actually add the two together. So I'm going to add a string to a variable type as an integer. So we're going to say that we're going to actually say print and then open parentheses and we want to print box plus, and we want to say box number, and semicolon to end. Alright, so think about what's going to happen if we do box and box number. Now, think about placement where things are at. What should happen is small box will come up here, but then right next to it, without any spaces, because there's no space right here, the number 23 will be stuck right next to there. Okay, so if we save this, Control S, push play, over here we should see small box 23 right next to each other. So, if we were to actually go in here and do a small space right there, push save, and then play it again, then we'll wind up seeing small box space 23 right there. Alright, so you have control over a lot of this, even through the addition once we get into the operators. But the basic thing just to realize from looking at this one is that you can declare and assign your variables at different stages in the game. You can declare them to different type, and it's not going to mess anything up. So you can change the type just on the fly as you're going through your code. But careful with how you do it, though. I mean, it's not something you just want to throw in there like that. Last one we'll look on this one is just one more for a string, just so you can see it. A string with a Boolean statement. So we can add numbers to strings, but we can also add numbers to the others. So let's say, for instance, we have one. We'll call this one variable. We'll say it's game over. So remember, lowercase at the first, capital on the second. So game over equals true. Now, if I have something like this, I don't have my type declared, but because Unity is smart enough to know, it actually knows that I'm declaring a type boolean. Okay. Now I'm going to take the game over option here, and we'll just say print, and we're going to say print game over, and then close and semicolon. Now I'm going to print this one, and then we'll go ahead and take a look at the how it comes up in here. So let's go ahead and actually we can just update it. Now it says true. But true doesn't really give me enough information, so for instance, I could actually do it this way. Alright, so we're going to actually say print. Now remember, print, what we've been doing, if you notice, in the prints, print can actually take a variable directly if it's just going to be printing a number, but if you want to actually type something, like the typical hello world, we can do print quotes. Remember, if you're printing a text, I use quotes. So I could say game game over, colon, and colon just meaning we could do a dash if you wanted. You could just, or an arrow pointing, whatever we want to do. Game over, and then we'll say plus, because remember we're adding these two together. So game over, and it's going to be true or false. So we push save, we go back to here, game over, true. Alright, so if we change this to false, F-A-L-S-E, control save, now game over, false. Alright, so very simple. We can add our strings directly in here to a boolean, to an integer, a float. They're going to come out as a full, it's going to come out, if you have a mix of those two, it comes out as a full string value, not as an integer value or anything. So we now have these printing out to our console, showing us what we have over on this side. Alright, so that's going to be the basics of of assigning of variables in different ways. Also different ways using the print function.